Okay. I'm just refreshing my memory on this one. And I remember I highlighted the extra bad things in this because this is not pretty.
I understand. No question.
Give it your best shot. Go ahead. In this case, this is 2240-835. You are Karan Joseph Dickerson, also known as CJ. And you are here with your attorney, Mr. Gertz, and the state's attorney. And we are here. The defendant has filed a motion to suspend upfront time. I ordered 180 days upfront time.
Notice the defense's angle here. He's pushing for the defendant to be home for Christmas with his family. Emotional appeal. Yes, but let's be real. This defendant was part of a violent robbery that left people shot. Do you think the judge should weigh holiday spirit against the seriousness of the crime?
How much time have you served now? How much time does it on this? September? About 4 months.
And Judge, the purpose for the filing when I filed it was in an effort to see if the court would let him go here for Christmas. Obviously, we missed that vote. He's got 2 more months that you could hold in suspension. We'd ask you to consider doing that, but the primary reason was for him to be home with his family for Christmas. He understands the seriousness and the nature of the offense and his participation in it. While it was a less dramatic role than some other players had in the incident, he certainly played a serious role, and he takes that very seriously. And his intention, his plan is to, whether it's now or in 2 months, to get out and be successful on probation and put this behind him and do well with the opportunity he's been given by the state and by the court.
Oh, okay. Anything?
He's lucky to be alive because the shootout that happened did kill one person, which was involved in the robbery, and wounded another that was their robbing. So,
did you catch that? The judge just told him flat out. He's lucky to be alive. This was not some minor scuffle. This case nearly became capital murder. For the defendant, the difference between probation and death row came down to the smallest twist of fate.
And he was involved in it.
He was involved in all of it, but he did not fire a shot, to my understanding. And that's why we dismissed the murder case. But he did participate in the aggravated robbery, yes, sir.
Okay. Well, isn't that capital murder?
It could have been that was what is originally charged.
That's the way I read it.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, this could have been.
Yes, sir.
I'm reading the probable cause affidavit, and for whatever reason, the state preferred not to pursue capital murder, but you would have had 2 choices: life without parole or the death penalty. Those would have been the only options. So I'm reading this, and Mr. Gertz is just fabulous lawyer, but he can't make something out of nothing here. And so you were involved in a robbery where someone was shot, multiple gunshot wounds to the body, this states. Apparently you were in a navy blue polo jogging suit. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is that right? Yeah, that's you. And you entered the residence, displayed a weapon. The co-defendant, Randall Cormier, told you, CJ, that's your name, that's how you clean this up, and forced all the occupants inside to lay on the floor. You then collected the cash and the illegal drugs from inside the residence. So, prior to leaving the residence, Cormier produces a black weapon. During the time the victim produced his own handgun, there was an exchange of fire. Cormier and CJ flee the scene in the white 4-door Nissan Altima. Cormier was transported to a local hospital with gunshot wounds and died. So So we have one man who dies, who was the most bad guy, I guess.
Yes, sir.
Most culpable here.
Yes, sir.
Then we've got Derek Gilbo suffering multiple gunshot wounds, who was one of the victims who was being robbed.
Correct.
Okay. And
You showing your house?
okay. So in my position being answerable to the people, it was placed into my lap. The state felt like, for whatever reason, that they always seem to try hard to be fair in the cases. They felt like, in spite of what would be called a real disturbing violent crime in this county, which we have all too often, they felt like deferred or unadjudicated probation was the best thing of all the circumstances. So this court, in manufacturing a set of conditions that you would be required to follow, that not only helps you fix your mistakes and your mindset, because why anyone would think this was a good idea to participate in is beyond me. But you have been given a really rare second opportunity to fix all this mess and do better. So one man dies. One's got to be critically injured with multiple gunshot. I don't know how you can get multiple gunshot wounds and not be critical, but serious at least. You're participating in this, and if technically you could have been charged with capital murder, and if the victim would have died, one of the victims to this would have died of the robbery, you most certainly probably would have been.
Here's the legal bombshell. Under felony murder rules, even if the defendant never pulled the trigger, he could still have faced capital murder charges because someone died during the robbery. The judge is spelling it out. This man was inches away from life without parole or worse.
So you got a break. When I sentence you, we have terms and conditions, and you are essentially free, a free man, except for those conditions that are placed. One of the conditions is I can assess confinement up to 180 days. And I'm sensitive about doing that because sometimes one day is all people need. The point is addressed and they understand and they don't want to ever go to jail. But it's not only the message I send to the person who's the defendant, but it's also what I send to the general public and the people who say, is this county being run in an efficient way by the people who help run things? And when people are involved in crimes of violence where one dies and one's has multiple gunshot wounds, how do we deal with that? And 180 days is the most I can assess. I can't even imagine, in thinking about it, what set of circumstances like these set of circumstances, how anything but 180 days should be assessed. Just because people want to know, okay, so what does it take to get 180 days confinement? How many people have to be shot and killed in a violent crime? And you know better. I think Mr. Gertz said, you have a family at home?
Yes, sir.
Who?
A girlfriend and two little boys.
Two little boys.
Sure.
Two little boys. Well, you missed Christmas, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
They missed Christmas. How old are they?
9 and 8.
What's the greatest gift you could have given them if you would have been home at Christmas?
Being the father to
Setting a good example, because children are going to emulate their parents. It's a natural phenomenon. They do it. If you are a bad role model, they're liable to turn out bad. But they're going to do what you do. So you can't be surprised that when they are teenagers, they're going to be running around with guns and shooting at people. How proud would you be about that? Because they would have learned it from you.
not proud of.
All that being said is 180 days. It's not even, this isn't even a close call for me. I've got to set a standard. If people are going to be fortunate enough in these circumstances to get deferred or unadjudicated probation, they're still going to have to pay a price to set the example, not only for you, for others and your children too, even though they're without their dad. That was your fault. You caused that. You ought to regret it for the rest of your life. Really going, there was a Christmas that the children had without me because I was mixed up. This is drugs. My God. Drug dealing. If I were you, when you get out of jail, you need to embrace them and try to put into actions what you ought to be feeling. And that is the love of your family and this close to an absolute loss to that family that you had if you wouldn't have been able to work this thing out in a fashion that really is remarkably generous for you.
And here's the dramatic reality check. The defendant is staring at the judge while being reminded he was one step away from death row. The judge is practically warning him, you just got the rarest second chance. Most people in your shoes do not walk out alive.
Because this is how close you were to the death penalty, this close. But I've got to set a standard, and this isn't even a close one. Yeah, your lawyer's trying, but you got to pull the weight by your actions and the decisions and choices you make, sir. You have a family, you need to be thinking of them first whenever you're making choices like this foolish decision. 180 days is terrible. I wouldn't want one day in the jail, but you're getting out in a little bit of time. You're not going to death row, which was an option here, sir. Hopefully you're scared to death about how close you got to losing your life, your freedom, your family, and their father. Get out. When you get out of this, follow the terms and conditions of probation, because look, you fail on probation, you're looking at up to life in prison. But all we're doing is saying, follow the rules, act responsibly, that I have to do. This is the same rules I have to follow, really. And I'm not accountable if I don't follow them. But you just have a probation officer who's going to help you get through this. You put yourself number one. And you're a religious guy?
Yes, sir.
You're not number one. What was it? The great book, I Am Third. Who was a great running back? Chicago Bears, Yale Steelers. I am third. My creator is first. Others are second. I'm third. And that's why he was a great man. And because he lived that concept. Your family is part of the others. They're above you. You serve them. Right. And that's what makes you make the better choices when you get mixed up in a crowd like this. Anyway, you've got a great lawyer who's going to help you guide through this, but I am not going to, I would be remiss if I was gave you the relief because these circumstances are most serious and they deserve or most deserving of 180 days upfront time, but could have been life or death row. That's how close this was. I know I sense you can do better. That's a lot of people come in there, they just don't have it. You can do better. And hopefully you're always this will be like a bee sting or like putting your hand on a stove. Never get involved with this because this stings. And then you want to enjoy life, surrounding yourself with your family and doing good things, not hurting people and yourself. Anything else? That is all. Thank you. All right, let's get ready to get back.